Storm Hunters, brought to you by Nikon, continues momentarily, but let's take a look at the weather events that are happening from coast to coast for the next few days. You can see this trough really swinging in, bringing in cold air into the prairies. There's going to be snow there, and it's going to be very, very cold. Sunday is going to be the coldest day for parts of the prairies, and you can see a high pressure system sort of keeping this system from coming into the Atlantic. Now let's take a look at the temperatures across the country for Sunday afternoon. Look at that, minus 15 in Edmonton. Storm Hunters, brought to you by Nikon, begins momentarily, but before we get there, let's take a look at the weather events happening from coast to coast. You see some blue, which means some snow in some areas, some green, which means rain, but looking at the prairies in Alberta, upsloping snow behind this descending cold front, so it's definitely going to be a snowy day, and unfortunately, it's going to be very, very cold as Arctic air blankets the prairies over the weekend. And then, well, in Ontario, there is a system that's coming through, and it's going to be widespread snowfall for Monday into Tuesday. Storm Hunters, brought to you by Nikon, concludes momentarily, but before we get there, let's take a look at the weather events happening from coast to coast for Sunday. You can see some of those systems moving through, lots of cold air, lots of snow in parts of the country, some rain for other parts. Let's take a look at the eastern part of the country. You can see some rain icons throughout, much of the snow in through Quebec. There's a high pressure area that's really keeping this system from moving into the Atlantic. So you see Halifax with that 8-degree and that sunshine. Taking a look at the west, you do see very cold temperatures and that snow icon in through the prairie. I'm Marta Czurylowicz. Thanks for joining us here on the Weather Network. Let's talk about the precipitation forecast for the Atlantic. There's a high pressure area that's really keeping that system out of the Atlantic. However, the tail end of it in through the warm sectors, bringing some of those showers in through parts of Nova Scotia, some of that rain-snow mix for areas in New Brunswick. And for Newfoundland, there is a weather statement, a special weather statement issued by Environment Canada for the sea effect snow along the western part, along the Long Range Mountains. That's overnight, tonight into tomorrow. Now, the temperature is 8 degrees in Halifax, 6 degrees in Moncton, that rain-snow mix throughout there. The next weather system, though, that's moving through, it's going to bring some snow, and Environment Canada is already issuing special weather statements for areas that are shown here. This coming in through Tuesday and Wednesday as that next storm moves in. Talking about Ontario's precipitation forecast, some areas seeing lake effect showers, lake effect snow rather, and then in through the southern part for Ontario, that's where you're going to see some of that rain. So areas in Toronto will see some of those showers as well. You can see in that icon here the sun and the rain icon, and areas in through Sudbury, that's where you could see that snow. Taking a closer look at the GTA, again, Toronto 7 degrees, Guelph 5 degrees, that rain icon throughout, and some of that snow as well. The next system moving through is going to bring some snow, and it's coming in on Monday, and it's likely going to affect the commute. Now let's take a look at that 7-day forecast for Toronto. Again, that snow icon Monday. But before we get to BC, let's take a look at this visual. Again, BC's precipitation forecast. You can see some of that snow in through the interior, but for the most part, the southern part of British Columbia is keeping dry. Taking a look at Vancouver, that fog icon is there, 12 degrees, 9 degrees in Kelowna. Now let's talk about the prairies. It's going to be colder, and there's a lot of snow coming as well. There's going to be upslope snow in for the foothills, so areas could see some of that snowfall accumulation, and it's going to be much colder. Sunday is looking to be the coldest day as Arctic air is blanketing the prairies over the weekend. I want you to take a look at these temperatures. Sunday, minus 15 in Edmonton, so definitely very cold, definitely a lot below seasonal. For Monday, it jumps up a little bit, but still very cold. Look at Edmonton, minus 8. So in comparison, it's much warmer, but it's still very, very cold. Minus 8 degrees in Saskatoon, minus 11 in Winnipeg. Let's take a look across the country, a quick recap. Again, very cold in the west and not so cold in the east. I'm Marta Czurylowicz. Thanks for joining us here on the Weather Network. Let's start off in the west with the precipitation forecast for BC and Alberta. You can see not much happening in the southern part of British Columbia. There was some snow in through the interior and through the Okanagan, but maybe a little bit of rain in through the northern part and snow in through northern BC. Looking at the temperatures for the southern part of British Columbia in through the lower mainland, fog for Vancouver, 12 degrees for Sunday, 9 degrees in Kelowna. And a quick look at that 7-day forecast for Vancouver. Some rain for Tuesday and a little bit later in the week, but again, fog for Sunday. Upslope snow for Alberta. So as this cold front sinks down, it's going to be bringing some of that snow, and the coldest temperatures for Sunday as Arctic air is blanketing the prairies over the weekend. So there's going to be some very, very cold temperatures. Taking a look at Sunday, minus 15 in Edmonton, minus 13 in Saskatoon, minus 10 in Winnipeg. Sunday is going to be the coldest day for the prairies. Let's look at the 7-day forecast for Edmonton. Look at that transition. 15, minus 15 on Sunday, and then minus 8. So not much warmer, but it is a very big difference. And on Tuesday, that mix of snow and rain. For Ontario for Sunday, again, snow in the north, rain in the south, and you can see that icon throughout London, 5 degrees with that shower, and then Toronto, 7 degrees. There is the potential for a snowstorm on Monday. Now it's going to be tracking through as Gulf moisture meets with Arctic air. So that track along there is going to bring that snow through southern parts of Ontario, including in Toronto on Monday for Remembrance Day. So if you are going to celebrate or to commemorate Remembrance Day, do bundle up. And in through the east, just some chance of showers through Nova Scotia. Now Monday, you might be able to see the planet Mercury line up between Earth and the sun. I'm Marta Czurylowicz for the Weather Network. Thanks for joining us here today. Let's take a look at the weather events happening from coast to coast. You can see some different colors, some blue, some green, which means there's going to be some snow and rain for different parts of the country. But we're going to focus in on Alberta, where there's snow and very cold temperatures. Upsloping snow behind this descending cold front, so areas in the foothills, along the foothills, will see lots of that snow. Even Edmonton will see 10 to 15 centimeters. Now this is inclusive of Saturday and Sunday, so both days these are sort of the totals for that snowfall amount. Again, Edmonton 10 to 15 centimeters. But as I mentioned, it's going to be very cold, and Sunday is going to be the coldest day as Arctic air blankets the prairies over the weekend. You're going to see some very, very chilly temperatures. Take a look at Edmonton, minus 15, in Saskatoon, minus 13, and Winnipeg, minus 10. But it's going to feel a lot colder. These wind chill values, minus 19 Edmonton, minus 21 in Saskatoon, and minus 18 in Winnipeg. So as I mentioned, Sunday is going to be the coldest day. It's going to rebound a little bit in for Monday. Now talking about Monday, looking at Ontario, there's potential widespread snowfall, and the commute will likely be impacted on Monday morning and afternoon. Now that is Remembrance Day, and World War I soldiers actually played a role in collecting weather data. I'm Marta Czurylowicz. Thanks for joining us here on the Weather Network. Let's take a look at the weather events happening from coast to coast in our country. Lots of rain, but then there's also a lot of snow, and that's where we start in Alberta, where there is upsloping snow behind a descending cold front. So that area in through the foothills, you can see this high pressure area coming down, bringing some cooler temperatures and really allowing for that snow to accumulate. Edmonton could see 10 to 15 centimeters of snow Saturday and Sunday. So that accumulation through 2 days. But it's going to be very cold as that high pressure area comes down. Arctic air is blanketing the prairies over the weekend. Sunday is going to be the coldest day. Take a look at the 7-day forecast for Calgary, minus 10 on Sunday, and then it jumps up to 1 on Monday. So there's that big temperature contrast. Other areas across the prairies, minus 13 in Saskatoon, minus 10 in Winnipeg. And in Ontario, there is a potential for some widespread snow Monday into Tuesday, affecting the Monday commute. Now, during this time, you have a stuffy nose, a sore throat, but what's the difference between a flu and a cold? Our Rachel Schuthen investigates, and she has more on how you can tell the difference. I'm Marta Czurylowicz. Thanks for joining us here on the Weather Network. Let's look at Sunday afternoon for Toronto. 7 degrees with that rain icon, but it's significantly warmer than it was on Saturday. Saturday was about 3 degrees, so that jump there closer to around seasonal, which is around 8 degrees for this time of year. Now let's talk about the precipitation forecast. You saw that rain icon, and yes, it's going to rain Sunday because of those milder temperatures, so not really conducive for snow, but rain. But there is snow on the way, and it's happening on Monday. I'll tell you about that in just 1 second. Let's look at the forecast conditions for Sunday. For parts of the GTA, you see Toronto, 7 degrees, that sun, rain icon there. Guelph, 5 degrees with that rain icon, and basically that rain is the story throughout parts of the GTA. But as I mentioned, Monday into Tuesday, there's going to be widespread snow, and it's going to be affecting the morning commute on Monday in through the afternoon for parts of the south. Now, there's still some uncertainty around these numbers, but Toronto could see anywhere between 5 to 15 centimeters, and the darker hues could see more than that. Now, everybody loves the movie Frozen, and Frozen 2 premieres on November 22nd, and our Nicole Karkic got a chance to go behind the scenes and talk to the cast members. Now, the winter forecast is just around the corner, and that's going to be happening on Monday, November 18th, and that's when you can find out if we're going to be seeing more snowy scenes like that one out in Alberta. So follow along with us. I'm Marta Czurylowicz for the Weather Network. Thanks for joining us here tonight. Let's talk about the precipitation forecast for Ontario. Well, on Monday, there's that chance of snow, but before we get there, it's going to be a rainy day in Toronto. Taking a look at those temperatures closer to the GTA, you can see 7 degrees in Toronto, that rain and sun icon there, and then throughout areas in the GTA, Guelph and Oakville, seeing rain as well. Now, Monday, that's when the snow is coming, and it's going to affect the morning commute and the afternoon as well. Climate change is affecting the entire world, but it's most evident in the Arctic.